By this roll of Winterbrose. In this video presentation, we're going to show you how to get moving with dynamic conversions for static models. We're going to be using Daz Studio 4.12 Pro for this demonstration, and we're going to show you how to make a moving door on the container houses set for Daz Studio created by artist 1971S. First, we'll go ahead and need to locate and install the props. So under Daz Studio Formats, My Daz 3D Library, under Props, we'll go to 1971S as soon as it pops up here. It's taking a minute, and we'll go in there, and there's Container Houses set, and you see we get 4 items in the set as purchased. So the one we're going to work on, there's a door actually on house 1, and there's a door on house 2. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and load house 2, and that's the one we're going to demonstrate on. So once we've got that loaded into the scene, you can see there's the door. We'll back up a little bit. There's the door we're going to work on. And if you go over here into the parameters tab and stuff, and you expand out the house 2, you'll see there is really no door itself that you can open and close, but we're gonna fix that. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to go over here to, we're going to need to go to our tool settings, which I believe we have over here. But we're going to, oh, sorry about that. We're going to undock this because we want to, we're going to undock that pane, and we're going to place it over here because we want to be able to use it over here. So if you don't have the tool settings tab running, you can go up here to Window, Panes tabs, and look for tool settings, and you see ours is, it's already indented. It's got a little yellow on it showing it's already active, but if yours ain't active, you can click it to turn it on, and that'll bring it up, and then you can dock it or just leave it free floating, whatever works for you. So now we're going back over here to the Scene tab. So we're going to go ahead and select our house 2 here, and we'll go first thing to the geometry editor, and we're going to expand this column out a little bit so we can read. So even a static model, if it's designed properly, will actually have surface groups that match the different parts of the model instead of just having one big texture for the whole thing. And you can see in here we have this door one. So by clicking it, and you see the door went red over here in the viewport. So we know that this was designed. 1971S did a good job of designing all the surfaces for this model. So what we're going to do is we want to make a new group for that, so that we can actually rotate that door inside this model. So the first thing we do is we'll hit the plus sign here, so that we, if you click off, you can see we have the door is selected over here. So we'll go up here to Face Groups, and we'll right click, create a face group from the selected. Now you can name it anything you like, but I think we should name it, we'll name it you can just call it door, or if you want, you can call it door 2TSH as the same as the surface group, so that we can work with it that way. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and unselect it. There we go. So we actually have now a face group, which is in the geometry with the vertices and the planes and all the edges for the door. So you can click it, and there it is. So the next step is going to be we'll have to create a bone over here for the door. So it's going to be a child under the main this main bone for CH house 2CH, or excuse me, C house 2CH. So we want to click that first, and then we want to go over here to the joint editor, get that up, and then once you have that up, sorry, we're going to go ahead and click here, and we're going to go create a child bone, and it's going to ask us what we're going to call it. So we're just going to call it, for the purposes of this demo, door, and we're going to just leave the label as door once we click onto it, and we'll just leave the rotation order the way it is, and we'll go ahead and click accept, and you see now we have a bone for the door. So once we've done that, now we need to go to the weight map editor, the node weight map brush, excuse me. And okay, and we still have the door selected in the Scene tab, and so we're going to click General Weights here, And once you do that, then you're going to go over here and you're going to right click on the model in the viewport. And it's probably nothing selected, but we're going to go ahead and do clear selection off geometry selection, clear selection, just to make sure nothing is selected. And then we're going to go here, geometry selection, select by, face groups. Remember we created that face group earlier. Door to TSH, and you see it selected the door. So now we want to add a weight map to that door so that we can actually use the parameters to rotate it along different axes, but we're going to make it swing open and close. So now once we've selected the door, you're going to right click on it, you're going to go to the bottom, and you're going to go weight editing. It's going to be fill selected, and it's going to come up. It should be already on 100%. If not, slide it all the way to the right and then click accept. Now the door is has its own weight map for that face group. So we'll go ahead and back here, we'll go back to geometry selection, clear selection, and then of course if we go over here and click off of the door, you can see how it went away. So now that we've given the door its own weight map, we're going to have to do some changes for it. So let's go ahead and reselect that bone for the door. This time we're going to go up here and we're going to select the geometry editor. Oh, I'm sorry, the joint editor. I apologize for that. So once you've done that, you'll see these little green and red arrows or symbols pop up in the viewport. Now if you're zoomed up too close, let's say like that, you may not see them. So if you zoom out the door enough, you should be able to see them. So what they are is those are going to, if you kind of hover over one, it should show you. This one is there's an endpoint. The red one there is the endpoint. You know, if hover, it says right, translate the endpoint, and this is the center point. So what those are for any model is the points that define what is going to be stationary, and when you do a rotation, what part's going to rotate. So basically for this door, you can see here we're on the left view is how we're looking at the door. So we're going to do look from the top, we're going to look from the left. So first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and we know the door handle is on the right side here. If you look at it, I'm trying to get off there. You can see the door handle knobs are on the right side, so we're going to want it to swing out toward us from the left. So we'll go to a top view. So remember, those handles are right there, and here we're looking at those. So we'll go to the top view, and we'll go ahead and focus back on the door. And I don't know where the door is at exactly. So what we're going to do, we're going to first, well, I take it back. We'll go back to the left view. We'll start with the left view and zoom out a little bit. And what we'll do is we're going to take the red dot and we'll put it right. Let's see if I can get that a little closer. That is the end point. This is the origin point here, the center point. So we'll want that to be on this side of the door because that's where we want this side of the door to be stationary, and we want this side over here to rotate. So then once we do that, we'll swing it, let's zoom up a little more. We'll go ahead and take this one and we will put it right on there. Then once we do that, we're going to right click align, and we're going to saw align node to get that node, those two lined up. Now if we go to the top view, I'm not sure where the door is on this view. Let me go to perspective and get back to the top view and see. Yeah, so this is the tricky part. So we know we got to, so what we're going to do is, let's see if we can go over here to the geometry editor. Let's see if we can hide the roof by clicking that little eye. Let's see. Let me see what part we hit. Well, okay, we want to hide this part right here. Let's see, tank, platform, and maybe it's a cover here. And there's another cover. Awning. Oh, there you go. That makes more sense. So So we can get a better idea what the door is. There's the door. So we can hide the rails. And let's see. Because what we're going to do is we need to move those points onto the top of the door. So when we get back to the door, and we go back to the joint editor for the door, there you go. You can see those points aren't on top of the door. We want those on top of the door. So what we're going to do is go to the top view, and the door should be there. So we're going to just bring those. We already aligned them up that one direction, so we're going to pull these up to here, and then we're going to pull this one up to here, and then we're going to right click and tell it to realign, align node. And now if we go look at the door again, they seem to be close to the door. Oh, look, they need to go out a little more. So we'll zoom in. You see they're not quite on the door itself. So let's got a little work to do here. This is fun. You're going to have fun doing this. So take this one and just pull it out to. It goes through the door or on top. Let's see. Can't see where on top of the door would be right there. So actually, let's just pull it. Oops, come on. Oh, what did I do? Let me get back on the door. There we go. I unselected the row. I'm trying to get onto that little arrow to pull it back to the door. And pull this one back to the door. Then we're going to try to auto line. Do a line mode so they can hopefully line up. See, yeah, I don't think they still line up with the door. So get back in the left view here. Let's line these back up with the door on the left view so we can see they're off a little bit. Oops. Yeah, when you misselect, you accidentally click, and so we got to line those up to the door, because we know when we go to the geometry editor and you select the door, there it is. You know the edges are here and here. So let's go back to the joint editor. So we know it looks like we've almost got those lined up. I just want to be able to see that door a little better. Maybe I can see it. Let's just see how that works. Let's just go ahead and use that. Don't know if it's going to work. Let's go ahead and try to do a Y rotate and see what happens. And you can see we get a door opening, but the door is swinging into the back instead of swinging, which means that our center point here is not on the just right. So what we'll do is we'll look at the door again from the top. Let's see. I'm thinking bring it up to the front edge of that. Maybe that's where it's at. So that was the origin point, or the center point. You can see this is the X position. And to make those exactly the same, we can just actually go up here and click copy with Control C, and then click here and Control V to paste it in. So they would line up. Line the node. Now let's go back to perspective view. Now let's just see if the door swings properly. Let's see, Y rotate. The door is still selected. So it's still not swinging exactly right. So they're lined up there. And they're lined up here. Let's see where that door is actually at. Looks like that door is in front of something there. So what we're going to do is I think they need to come out more. It's hard to tell where the front of the door. Oh, yeah, there it is. I think think the door is in front of that panel. So let me go see if I can hide those side panels. Let's see if it's one of these walls. Yeah, there you go. So now we go look. Oh, there you go. Now I can see the door. Go back to the joint editor. Okay. You can see there's the door right there. So let's go to the back view. And there's the doors right here. So you can see we need to pull these to the front. Actually, let's go ahead and line them up and down. We can do them on like that. And then we can take this one and bring him up to the door. Put him center on the door. Then we take this one up here to the door and put him in center on the door. So let's make sure those Z values, make sure the Y values match. So we'll copy this one and paste it on that one so they're identical. And then our X values, we want those to match, so we'll put that on top of that one so they match. And now you can see it perfectly lines up. So we'll go to perspective view again. Now let's just see if the door will. Oh, we still need to align these to the door, so we can see here we got to move this one to the left a little bit. So let's drag it over to the edge of the door, and this one needs to go to the right a little bit. Oops, hang on, I missed the door again. It's kind of tricky when you're working this stuff. There you go. Now they lined up this way. So now when we do the Y rotate, the door should swing like a regular door. There you go. We actually got it now. So we've actually built a joint that works with the door. Now, once we, let's go back to Geometry Editor. Let's turn everything back on so we can see it all again, the full model. We don't want to be missing out on anything. So let's zoom out a little bit. Okay. Now that we've created that, all we have to do basically is we won't want the door to swing all the way open and just all the way into the model like that. So we'll want to put limits on it. So we'll probably limit the door to opening about, let's see, it looks like it's cutting into the model there. So we would just put limits on it by saying, well, let's say minus 90 from 0 to minus 90. So we'll go ahead and put this back at 0. So to put the limits on that door, let's go ahead and go back in here to the Universal tool. And we can hide this if we don't need to really see it right now. So now we're working over here. So on the Y rotate, which was the one we want, so we don't want anybody to rotate on the Z. So we can take that. You don't have to. You can hide it so that nobody rotates. Well, let's just go ahead and show you what happens when we rotate on the Z. Let's go back up to the parameters for the door. So you don't want anybody to rotate in the door like that. You don't want to accidentally rotate like that, I should say. And the same for the X. You don't want to rotate the door like that. Okay. So you can hide those or just ignore them. The Y is where we're important and care about. So we'll go into parameter settings, and we can just go ahead and change the label on the Y to open dash close. That way it'll say that over here. So we change the label to that. We want to use limits. We know the minimum it's going to be is minus 90, which we just did when we swung it open, and the max is going to be 0. We don't want it to go anything beyond 0. So we click that, and you can see now it says open and close, and it's got our little bar here. So if we go like this, we can open and close the door. It's fully functional now on this static model. So the last step you want to do is, let's go back to our content library over here. So you probably want to keep this thumbnail. So we'll just go ahead and right click, browse to photo location, which will take you to where it's this model stored in Daz on your PC. So we'll go in here and we're going to make right click and we're going to make a new folder, and we'll just call it temp. And that's because we want to save that thumbnail. So the model we're going to save over for this is called chhouse28ch, which was this one here. So we'll just take that PNG, the PNG there, and we'll copy it into here, however you want to do that. So we have a copy of it. And I'll go ahead and close this for now because we can open it again later. So we know this is the one we're going to save over, so go ahead and click back up to here. And then you're going to go up here to File, Save As, and you're going to do Support Asset, Figure Prop Assets. And you're going to want to save this exactly where it was originally saved. Now, you can see here we came up in a place for the Ronk character, which is not where it needs to be. And you may not know where it's at. And so if you don't know where it's at, what we'll do is we're going to cancel here. When you did right-click Browse to Photo Location, it shows right here. It's going to be under the Daz Studio Library, Props, 9071S, Container Houses Set. So that's where we want to save it. So we can just leave that up for reference if we need to. And we'll go back over here. And then we'll do File, Save As, Support Asset, Figure Prop Assets. And we know now we need to go to my Daz Studio Library. We're going to go to Props, 1971S, Container Houses Set. Now we got to make sure the one we overwrite is the one that we were working on, which was the CH House 2CH, or C House 2CH, sorry about that, kind of a mouthful. And we'll hit Save. It's going to say it already exists. Do you want to replace it? We're going to say yes. It already fills everything for you automatically from the original file, so you can just leave it as it is and click Accept. And it'll do its little saving thing. The thumbnail here is going to change to what the viewport shows, and there you go. So to test this new model version that we created, now obviously this is for your own use. You can't share this with other people because it's just wouldn't be right. There's copyright owned by the original artist, or artists. So we'll go do a new scene, and we'll load this version in really quick. And we will just swing it around here. And we will go here and see how it works. There's the CHS tool. Expand it down. There's the door. Looks like we have our open close on the parameters. Let's see if they function. There you go. Now we have an actual working door for that house in the container house set. And you can repeat the same thing for the door over here in house 1. It should work just fine. So the last step is we want to restore that thumbnail. So to do that, we're going to right click in here, browse to file location, folder location, excuse me. So don't remember we had this, we put this temp folder in here, so we'll go down to that temp folder, and we want to take this and just move it up one level back to where it was, and it'll overwrite. It's going to ask us to want to replace that one, yes, and it's going to take it and put it back. And then once it's out of there, you could have used move or copy. You can get rid of the temp directory because you're not going to need it anymore. And we can close this out, and you're going to be like, well, my thumbnail still looks like the one I saved. Well, just do a right click, refresh, and there it is. Now you have a fully functional prop that has a working door on it that you can use to enhance any of your scenes or whatever you use this container house set for. We hope you enjoyed this video presentation on how to make a moving door for the static model container houses set for Daz Studio. Have a great day.